Listener discretion is advised. This podcast may include profanity and discussion of sensitive topics. Any opinions expressed are those of the speaker and do not reflect the opinions of any other person or entity. Welcome to episode number 10 of the Real Future Podcast. My name is John Nyboer. I'm a Los Angeles-based photographer of street dance culture, and I started this podcast to share the personal stories and perspectives behind the world's largest arts movement. My guest today is Malik Bannister, aka Gumby. Gumby is a professional dancer, fluent in multiple styles with a natural gift for showmanship. He's also a creative director for film and a dance educator, including a role as a teaching artist with Heidi Duckler Dance. Malik brought a lot of energy to the studio and an extra set of bunny ears for our conversation that touched on everything from his origin story to the strange place that is Los Angeles. You're about to meet a really fun, talented, and thoughtful individual. So let's get into the real future with Malik Bannister.
And now you got another technical skill under your belt. Come on now, let's do it.
That's right. Malik Bannister, a.k.a. Gumby, welcome to the real future.
Thank you. Thank
you so much for being here. I'm kind of jealous of the bunny ears. And these are the gold ones, right? How many pairs do you have?
So I have gold, black, white, and silver. The black is like a satin, white is like a satin, and then silver and gold like this like party situation.
Yeah. Do you wear it literally everywhere?
As long as I can, yeah. Every single day, whether I'm on set, if I'm offset, if I'm in public, very long story short, I guess, unless I can't, then I can, and that's the way LA runs, you know?
And when did you start doing that? Because I feel like when I first met you, you weren't doing this.
Right.
And then shortly thereafter, you started doing the bunny ears.
So, all right, well, we got time to give you a little story.
I'd love the story on the bunny ears.
So in 2022, prior to, but in 2022, we're coming out of COVID. We're trying to figure out what we're doing in life, right? I ended up working with Check 12. Shout out to Check 12. A really cool bar mitzvah company out here, started by DJ Paris Paul and a few other notable people here in the industry. We had a bar mitzvah in San Francisco. We drove up, we did our thing. I was really excited to go. As it happened at the bar mitzvah scene, us as the dancers and the DJ and like the MC and stuff, our outfits were pretty much like actually very astute and put together. Usually it's kind of like relaxed, business casual.
Okay.
But it was like very like business. Everything except like the shoes. Mm-hmm. So we had like tie, vest, blazer, like really hamming it up. As we got in there, people are asking us, hey, can you tell me where the bathroom is? Do you know where parking is? I'm just like, ma'am, I don't work here. They're like, are you sure? And so,
are you sure? Jeez, oh my God. Just say, oh, sorry.
Right.
Are you sure? Oh, wait, I do work here.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, right. They contracted
So anyway,
me.
continue. That was just weird.
Yeah, you're good. So the people are asking us questions. It gets to the point where the person who's running the bar mitzvah area, they come up to our team and they're like, hey, so people are telling us that your workers don't know anything, and they keep walking up to you guys because we're all dressed the same. Can you guys do some party favors or figure something out to just change your outfits up a bit? And so,
to distinguish yourselves.
Yeah. So some person had a big tie, some people had big glasses. I ended up choosing the original bunny ears, which were white ears with the pink inside, actually like Easter bunny ears.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so after picking them, I remember we're doing a thing. We do a dance set, and while everyone's doing their dance set, everyone's getting hyped. The old people are dancing, the young kids are dancing. I'm somewhere in the middle of the floor, and as I'm dancing, I go from yeah, and then next thing you know, the sound drowns out, and I'm literally just standing there wait, I'm gonna be 30 in 4 months. I'm having a midlife crisis. What am I doing with my life? And as I'm going through this weird am I really doing anything? I'm having this conversation with God, spirit, universe, whatever you want to call it, And the realization is that I'm it's basically the voice that comes back to me is well, you moved to LA not to make money. A lot of people come here for that. You moved to LA to be an artist. So in LA, I've realized that also, in a funny way, not just in LA, around the world, people feel comfortable approaching other people in the way that they feel comfortable approaching themselves, right?
Sure.
So for one example, I remember being in a public place, some guy walks up to me, up to my ear, and he's like, I would never let you around my kids. And I'm just like, my name's Gumby. Nice to meet you. Why would you walk up to me and say, I don't even know you, yo? And so he was like, well, what is that? You're wearing these bunny ears and da-da-da. I was like, it's so funny that you're saying this, but like, this lady is like, are you Bad Bunny? That lady is like, are you a Playboy Bunny? This guy's like, are you Donnie Darko? And here you come talking about I'd never let you around my kids. I'm like, why is that the first place you went? You need therapy. This is you talking to you. You think you're talking to me, but you're talking to you, bro. And so by the end of it, I was like, have a nice day. But I realized in that moment that, oh, wow, like in the objective reality we all share, your subjective view on that makes the difference. And this guy feels so comfortable enough to talk to himself. And so before I left, I was like, I'm so sorry you talk to yourself like that in the morning because you feel comfortable doing it. That's why you walked up to me and gave me that energy. You know what I'm saying? You don't just say things that you haven't practiced.
And did he just like, how did that end?
So for him, he was like, it was like a taken aback face, like a, how dare you? And I was just like, and kind of like slowly like fell into the shadows, you know?
Is there any way I could get like an artistic set of bunny ears on my head?
Oh, I've got just the thing.
How's it going? How's it looking?
Yeah, there it is.
All right. Well, it's nice to have you here. I like the story about the ears. I didn't know that. Now I know that. And it kind of leads naturally to, you said you moved here to LA to like fast track learning how to be an artist or growing into an artist. Is that accurate? Did I understand you right?
Yeah, I guess in the most part. So for me, I moved here in 2016.
From where?
From Virginia.
From Virginia?
Yes.
And were you from like the city, country, what part of Virginia?
So it's interesting. Well, first of all, I'm from New York. Let's go ahead and put that out there.
Okay.
Like, shout outs to New York. We in the building.
Meaning you were born in New York?
Yeah, born in New York. Go like pretty much every summer, every few seasons, go back and forth. Family, like the majority of my family is born and bred in New York.
In New York City?
New York, yeah, Queens specifically.
Queens, okay.
Like, yeah. And so mom and dad, I mean, we're going to get into it today, so you know what I'm saying, we're into it. But mom and dad divorced in 99. I'm the middle of three boys. And so when we divorced, my dad stayed in New York. My mom and the three boys moved down to Virginia. I was 7, older brother was 10, younger brother was like, I want to say 1 year old. So we're in VA, we're doing our thing. And I want to say over time in life, I want to say for me, as a young man, when I was a young boy, when he was a young boy. As a young man, without having my father in the house and having a mother who was very much into education, shout out to my mother, Dr. Charlene Winley. She has a doctorate in educational leadership. She always told me to like ask questions, question things, look into things. And so I took that, one, into the religious space, like learning about, Christianity, God, things of that nature. But two, I would as a kid, I thought I was so smart in a sense. And I would ask myself, well, mom and dad divorced, and I'm just like, well, dad, you had kids, and I want you to tell me after making kids, what's more important than like being there for your kids? Like, I need you to tell me right now what's more important than being there for my kids.
When you're like 12 or 13 or something?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, no, like 7, 8.
Oh,
and that's
7,
the thing.
8,
Like,
okay.
I was so young, but because my mother was like, read books, like ask questions, like research things, we were still in the encyclopedia phase, Yeah, we were still in the book reading phase, the encyclopedia phase, the getting outside, touching grass. And so I would read into things and make connections. And so it got to the point where I needed to find a way to express myself. And I realized that in Virginia, black people they're seen as problems before they're seen as people. And as a young man, I really understood that very astutely, very early in the game. So instead of me just like being angry and rah, or just walking into the streets and walking around angry, I'm like, that'll get you killed, bro. Like that'll get you arrested. Like you have to find a way to like get that out.
So you moved from New York to Virginia when you were like 7, 8? Is that?
Yeah, 7, 8.
And did you move to, what part of Virginia?
So I was in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And it's crazy
Beach.
because it's like half country, half city. So the beach from the ocean front to like maybe halfway through Virginia Beach is basically like ocean front. And it's almost like Venice, like almost just like Venice. It's very beach culture. Then you get like little inland.
And you get tourists, right, in the summer? And all that?
Definitely.
Yeah.
You get tourists all the time. Then it becomes like a little mini city culture. And then as you start like getting closer to like the next city over, it's like country woods, like North Carolina, like, 1-lane streets, a lot of woods on each side. Okay. So it's like a mixture of places. And with the mixture of places, if you're either military or raising a family, Virginia Beach is where you want to be. But outside of that, it's like I don't want to work at the local bowling alley. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to work at the mall forever. Like, or I don't want to move 2 cities away and work at the local shipyard because the naval base is down the street.
Okay. So I didn't mean to distract you from what you were saying. Yeah. So you were talking about walking down the street. People were telling you, hey, you got to act different, which coming from New York, You're more like, what do you mean? Like that's, yeah.
It was a bit of a culture shock, honestly. And I want to say, as a youngster, I didn't really understand the concept of a culture shock, but I did understand the fact that where I'm from, like, hip hop was born in this place.
Yeah.
Like, there's big sounds, there's rock music, there's Sade, there's R&B, there's jazz, there's all this art and culture. And I see all these black people, ethnic people, Dominican people. I get to Virginia, and it's more like, more white, more Filipino, more black and everything. But again, like, I want to say, quickly in life, I had to learn that as a black person, at least in my generation coming up, you had to work 3 times as hard to get half of what they have. You have to walk in and you have to learn how to code switch. You can't say, yo, what's up? Or like, yo, good morning. Oh, your voice is so deep. I'm like, no. So even now, for example, as an adult, like, believe it or not, if you guys ever see me in public, my voice is like more like this. Hey guys, what's up? But when I'm at home, this is literally how I sound in the morning. Like, this is my actual talking voice.
Okay.
And it's because I've grown accustomed to code switching. Sometimes you having this bellowing deep voice is something that just...
I was just gonna ask. So the code switching for you is more about tone, not so much about, because you don't really talk a blue streak most of the time, right?
Yeah, not really.
Like, you're not the kind of person who throws out a lot of profanity and stuff, or are you?
No, I mean, if I'm like excited about something,
Yeah, I mean, I do too. But like, but for you, code switching was more about tone.
Yeah, it's more about tone and more just about understanding, like, understanding that the rooms you walk into, with all due respect, may not be for you. So when you walk in, understand that even though you may be comfortable saying certain things or comfortable talking in a certain way, the people around you are the ones creating the standards. So understand what standard you're walking into. If it's a professional space, maybe you change your tone, or maybe you change the way you're speaking, or the intensity of your speech, the speed of your speech. And again, this is me being a kid and questioning my reality. Like, my dad's not here to teach me. My mom made it clear, I can't teach you how to be a man. I can teach you how to be an adult, but I can't teach you how to be a man. So you have to go through your lessons and learn that. So I'm like, okay, well, the man walks in and he respects himself, but at the same time, I make sure that no one disrespects me. But at the same time, I make sure that, I walk in with a certain energy and air. So like, trial and error, you had to kind of figure it out,
And were you dancing at this point?
One of the really big things that popped me off for dance was, I want to say in the early 2000s, there was a man in my neighborhood who was he was a popper. He was
in Queens, Virginia.
In Virginia, he did a lot of tutting, a lot of waving, a lot of popping, right? And so as a kid, I'm just like, I have those same exact limbs. Why can't I do that? Like, how are you? And he's literally just like tutting it up and then like waving it and
like some dude on the corner, or like, what's the context?
He lived in my neighborhood. Like, just one of these kids that lived in the neighborhood. And I remember every once in a while his homies would come to the neighborhood and they're like, hey, we're gonna go to the Peppermint Club and we're about to go and like, have a battle tonight. I'm like, a battle? And so I remember him coming home one day and showing the neighborhood like on a camcorder of like what the battle was. And I was just like, yo, this dude is like really doing it. And at the time, I was just discovering Baltimore club music, which is club music and house music all in the same version. So as I'm hearing boom, 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 this guy, he's just doing it. I'm just like, I can do that? Oh my God. So I'm super excited as a kid. I'm like, this is great. But at the same time, on the flip side of that, so now I'm seeing street styles, right? And other than like being raised in New York, you see hip hop, you hear hip hop, right? And then for me, because I was young and I was emotional, although I didn't take theater classes, I was technically a theater kid. Like, I was watching plays, I was like singing the Mulan and Hercules and Disney songs. And although I couldn't really like dance or sing, like if it was raining outside, I would go run outside and like stand on something and I want to be the greatest person. Like, I was just like making up my own lyrics. Wow. Like, for me, it was all emotional expression. And I would come home crying. Mom's like, what'd you do? I'm like, I miss Dad. And I just wish that he was here. Like, she should be like, okay, well, maybe you should like do Broadway because you're really acting right now.
So did she get you into theater classes or what?
So she always pushed, my mom always pushed, like, if you really want to do this, like, there are places in New York where we can like send you to stay with your aunts for like a weekend of the summer and you can learn. And I was like, no, I don't really want to, because I didn't really believe in a career in that. Like, because I didn't really think that emotional expression and figuring out myself was a career option. With my father not being around, I wanted to be like a helpful soul. So I wanted to get into pre-med. I had the grades. I had the backing for it. My brain worked. I was like, well, medical is just a long time in school and a lot of vocabulary. That's it. I wanted to be a brain.
Was your mom teaching at a local college at this time?
So she, at the time, was teaching at she's been an elementary school teacher for the longest. She did middle and high, I think middle for a little bit, but elementary is basically like where she lived. She did social work for a while, and then elementary was like the thing. Like,
yeah, my mom was an elementary school teacher as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah. How did you get into formally start training in some kind of dance, whether it was battles and mentorship, or whether it was joining the drama department, or however this worked? What was it?
Let's see. So,
Drama.
right, drama is
Because
the
you
way.
definitely have that drama energy. I remember that I was in band as a kid, right?
Yes, me too.
And so we
Tenor
would
sax.
do the musicals and stuff with. There was a relationship, and the drama people were always like the most fun, and also the most bouncing off the walls.
The thespians.
Yeah,
So
right.
hilarious.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, I want to say, like I said, it wasn't until high school where it came to the idea of, hey, like, let's, where we're having like a talent show, we're having a thing going on, and I had to like start teaching other people how to do it. I was like, well, if I'm going to teach you, I have to know what I'm talking about. So now I'm like trying to ask people like, you're a dancer, how did you learn this? Oh, well, this is a popping style. What's popping? Or this is a waving style. What's waving? So I had to like start asking people and like kind of take like an eventual dance class here and there. So that's kind of how that started. I'm going to say, like, high school was really like okay, let me try and take a dance class. But even then, it wasn't like a regular thing. I didn't regularly start taking dance classes until like college. Once I hit college, like I regularly started hitting different events, started hitting classes, started going to like different studios here and there. Ultimately, it was like for different forms of like street styles, but still, I would try to find it in different places until I realized like, oh, the street and the studio are two different things now.
But you didn't. Did you go to college for dance?
No, I should have.
No.
I really should have. I probably could have killed, man. I could have.
What,
But no.
what college were you at?
I was at Virginia Commonwealth University, VCU in Richmond. I went on a pre-health sciences or pre-med track. And like I said, I was going to be a brain surgeon. I had the grades for it. I had the backing for it. I had everything I needed to make it happen.
Yeah.
But and I got to tell this story. Here's why I'm not a neurosurgeon right now. The summer before college, there was an accelerated health track situation. It was like 2 months before college started. It was future doctors, nurses, dentists. We all got to like stay in the dorms for a few months, like figure out what college life was about, right?
Yeah.
It gets into like it's going into my second semester. No, it's about to end my first semester in college. And our TA comes out and he was like, I know you guys remember me for the summer and da-da-da-da. Let me talk about like my MCATs coming up. And we're like, oh, the MCATs, that's like the entrance exam for pre-med. Right. And he was like, so here's the deal, you guys. It's like October of 2010. My MCATs aren't until like December of 2012. But since like April of this year, 4 hours a day I'm studying for my MCATs. 4 hours minimum. Like I'm literally looking at physiology. I'm looking at pathophysiology, the American way, the Hungarian way. Like I'm doing all the research. I'm in the book. Like I carry the book around with me and I'm just like, pause, wait. What do I love that much in my life that I would pursue so much that I would give a minimum of 4 hours a day? And I'm like, I'm not sure if it's medical. I like this and I'm good at this, but, and this is my brain, my dramatic brain coming into play. My dramatic brain was like, well, look here, here's the deal, my guy. If you end up becoming a neurosurgeon, right? By the time you buy your third mansion and you've traveled the world 7 times and you've gone to Milan and back and you've brought all the things and all that stuff, you're probably going to end your life early because you realize that you regret not pursuing your heart's desire, which is being an artist, which is pursuing the art that so greatly saved you in your emotional expression. So I was just like, I can't do this. If no one paid me for the rest of my life, I would still get up and produce art. I would still get up and do dance. I would still get up and do this. I would do it every day if I could, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't pursue the medical field. Yes, it would pay me well. And yes, I would be rich and blah, blah, blah. But I would look back at my life and be like, oh, why are you not happy? Because like, I really wanted to pursue art, but I put that to the side so I could be a successful surgeon and da-da-da-da.
Yeah. And so then did you leave school or how did that play out?
Yeah, so very long story short, after he gave that spiel, I was just like, you know what? I think I know what I'm going to do. So I changed my major from pre-med to small business management because I figured as a dancer, I'm the business. I have to learn how to do a small business thing. Ended up going for 2 years at VCU, dropped out, never finished college. But in that moment, I moved back home, started working, you know, whatever job.
Sure.
And in working jobs, I ended up getting a job as a visual manager at a Love Culture, which is like a Forever 21. And the visual manager are the people who basically put like the shirts where they're supposed to be. Like, let's set the
merchandising display.
Yeah, visual merchandising display, basically. And so, like, in order to get the job, I walked in for an interview. The night before the interview, I literally took a time to look through all the things of fashion, like skirts, history, all that. And I wrote like a 12-page like handwritten notes. I walked into the interview with my notes in my hand. They were just like, "Are you in college for this?" I was like, "No." They were like, "These notes are so detailed." I was like, "Yeah, I was on Wikipedia last night all night because I want to know like how to do the fashion thing. Like, I want to be into it." So I took the notes and I figured it out. They're just like, "You're hired." So I ended up being a visual merchandiser just because I had the willingness to make it happen. But I realized because I see it as art.
How did you keep dancing in a way that moved you forward while you're work in, visual merchandising and retail and stuff like this?
That's a good question. So for me, I want to say I realized that I do enjoy dancing, and because I'm so good at it naturally, there has to be a way that I can make something of this, whether it's a career option, a move, a change, or something. And so asking like the people around me and the people who I've known and whatnot, people are just like, well, one, you have a heart for people. So like you community service and being a part of the community, that's what you do. Two, you dance all the time and you practice on your own and you make choreography on your own. You do it on your own. So like what you're doing and putting your time into, there are people in other cities who like get paid for this. People get paid to dance. So instead of you waking up and going to this 9 to 5 that you know you're going to like dance at and they're going to fire you for dancing on the job, why don't you like pursue a career where this is what you do? And I was just like, you know what, you're right. So I started looking into different things. Shout outs to Movement Lifestyle, because they have like the tour and there were different studios doing different things. But I want to say what really got me into it, and this is a beautiful, I love saying this all the time.
Is there a movement in Virginia Beach?
I was just about to say that. So in not specifically just in Virginia Beach, but in the Virginia Collegiate area, and this is just for you guys out here, so you guys can understand it's a beautiful thing. There was a collegiate circuit called Kodachrome. The way it would happen.
Whoa.
Hey, that's awesome. Okay, so with the background music that you guys probably can't hear, in Virginia there was this event called Kodachrome. The idea would be, I'm going to use California as an example. Let's say we plan to link up at USC, right? No matter where you are in SoCal, you go to UCLA, you go to the college of this, the college of that, Pepperdine, wherever it is. The idea would be like, hey, you guys, this weekend we're going to go to USC, right? So on Friday, we would all drive in from our respective places, and you would find a campus to stay on, a hotel, or like somewhere to stay in the city, right? Somehow, somewhere. Usually it was campus, like someone's dorm or someone's campus housing, right? Because we're all college students. So everyone would like, you would hitch a ride with somebody, you would drive into your city, and you would stay there, right? After that on Friday, on Saturday morning from, I want to say 10 a.m. to like 3 p.m., there'd be a minimum 3 choreographers, whether they're choreographers at your school or people that they would raise money from different places to come through. Like, so we're at USC, maybe we'll have someone come from North Carolina or we'll have someone come from Utah. You just have 3 choreographers who are basically, they'll come and they'll teach classes, kind of like a dance convention, right?
So you're going where to do this?
So I went to VCU and like every 2 weeks, they'd pick a different college to have this event at. Right? So one time it'll be at VCU one weekend, and the next weekend we'd have a rest. And the weekend after that, they'll be at James Madison University. And then 2 weeks later, it'd be at Old Dominion University. So you'd pick a college every 2 weeks to go, yeah?
Wow.
So, and classes were like, what, $10, $15? It was really cheap, you know what I'm saying? And it was really awesome. So we'd come in on Friday. On Saturday morning, we'd take class from like 10 to 3. You said the choreographers signed the posters, we'd high five. After class, we'd go as a family to go, like, it was always buffet style. We'd go eat together. We'd break bread together. We'd talk about class, like, you did great. Like, oh my God, let me get your information. Let's just exchange stuff. After that, everyone would go home to their respective dorm rooms and we'd shower, right? And then depending on the age range of the people around, we'd either go to a club together or we'd go to like a house party. So now we're all partying together. We're fellowshipping together, yeah? After that, Sunday morning, we'd all wake up. We'd get breakfast together. We'd talk about the weekend. And then we'd all drive back to our own campuses because we all have class on Monday. And then the next week, you'd have class. And then the week after that, you'd have class again. And then come Friday, we're going to another campus. And so, like, with that experience, it really put me into the energy of like, oh, like dance is really a career, but the community is really like a niche, solid community. It's not just like, oh, like we all wanted to learn how to like 5 and 6. Like, no, this dance community is something that's like, it's to be relied on. It's to be protected. And so after that, in the 2010s, I was like, you know what? I love Kodachrome, and that's literally how I met Knox. I met him through Kodachrome.
Shout out to Knox.
And how I met my lady Rashay, I met her through Kodachrome. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've met so many people through Kodachrome. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Yes.
And you met them in Virginia?
Well, they actually were both in North Carolina. It started in Virginia, and eventually we started going to colleges in North Carolina. Even Josh Carr, shout out to Josh Carr. I met him.
Wow.
I met all of them through Kodachrome. You know what I'm saying? So it was like once we started going to North Carolina started coming up to here and stuff like that, we started exchanging people and exchanging energies. That's how we all started meeting each other, and we started expanding the world in a sense. Eventually, it got to the point where ML had the tour where they toured around at different studios around the country, and they eventually started coming to different places. So half the the Kodachrome people were like, well, we've taken classes, let's go to the tour. And after the tour, I was like, well, I've done the tour, I'm moving to LA. And I'm like, yo, I want to move to LA because like I want to pursue this. ML was a way for us to learn how to do industrial hip hop, jazz funk types of dance.
And, and everybody was from LA that was teaching this stuff.
I want to say the majority of people,
right,
some from Texas, some forever, but like it was mostly like people who were like in LA, like really coming up.
And that's why you wanted to move to
yeah,
LA.
because it was like after getting this this training from these people and realizing like, oh, like it's all not just you have to be a ballet or a contemporary or a modern dancer to be a professional dancer. Like you can be a hip hop dancer and have a career. Now, yes, you want to learn these other styles so you can like, open your repertoire.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, like being a hip hop dancer is an actual thing. It's an actual career option.
It is, yeah.
So that's pretty much how Kodachrome happened, and that's where like my training like career kind of started in a sense.
And so when did you decide to leave visual merchandising and like jump out here? And did you do it by yourself or did you come with a group?
So my older brother eventually, shout outs to him, shout outs to my older brother, I love you, man. He went to Virginia Tech right after the Virginia Tech massacre. Like, he was an extremely smart young man. I was going to be an architect. He had the grades, did the thing. But after being at Virginia Tech for a while, he moved to LA. You know what I'm saying? So he moved to LA, you know what I'm saying, pursuing his own career, doing his thing. I remember I came to visit him one time, and when I came to visit, I came to visit because there was a choreographer by the name of Christopher Farside Jennings. If you guys know Farside, check him out, you know what I'm saying? Amazing choreographer, amazing dancer, amazing street style popper, you know what I'm saying? So I came out to visit my bro because, one, I was like, I want to come visit LA, I want to see LA. But like I said, prior to Farside, he hit me up and was like, I like what you're doing. We're having an audition X amount of times. I think you should come through for the audition. Now, I think that he thought I already lived in LA because I was like talking to LA people and like communicating with people who had moved from Virginia to LA. I was low-key like in the digital LA community, So I think that he thought that I was out there. So he was like, come audition. And so I'm telling my back home studio, like my big homie in KRUMP, like my hip-hop big homies who were teaching me how to dance and stuff, my hip-hop house big homies. Also, shout outs to Norman Cunningham, a.k.a. Brinks, the KRUMP big homie. Shout outs to Gorilla Will, the hip-hop big homie. Shout outs to Decimus X, Yarborough, the house big homie. You guys... Masters of work. But after talking to them, they were like, well, I mean, like, if Farside hit you up, bro, like, are you going to go? And I'm like, I think I'm going to go. So I made saving up for a ticket, went over to visit my brother for like a week, and in that week, they had the audition for Studio V. Yep. So I went hard the choreography section. I think I did okay. When it came to the freestyle section, I was like, oh, this is what I do. Got down. They were just like, yo, where did you come from? I was like, oh, I'm just doing my thing. Farside was like, so here's the deal, bro. We want you on the team. Like, you're dope. And I was just like, well, here's the deal. I live in Virginia, and this was like August, like the end of August of, of the year. And I was like, I live in Virginia. He was like, well, here's the deal, man. If you come back to LA, like, obviously don't make it too long, but if you come back to LA, there's a slot for you, man. Like, I love the way you move. Like, I love the way you express. Like, you're amazing. Like, please come back. And I was just like, yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? Like, so excited. So I ended up going back home to Virginia, worked 3 jobs, literally worked 3 jobs. In the morning, I did car washing. In the afternoon, I danced and made a little money here and there. And then at night to like overnight, I worked as a bar back on the local oceanfront bar. So three a days for like the next few months. I ended up saving enough money to move. Well, actually, I ended up saving enough money for like rent in LA, but not enough for like a plane ticket. One of the studio dads in my studio was like, "This is for you." I was like, "What?"
Oh, nice.
And he was like, "This is a one-way ticket to LA. Don't come back until you're done." And I was just like, "Okay, I'm gonna go to LA. Thank you so much. Oh my God, you brought me a ticket. Oh my God." So I got a one-way ticket to LA. Ended up staying with my bro for a little bit. And from there, I mean, obviously the rest is history, but that was February of 2016. I moved into LA. I lived on like the underneath the washer machine in like the little small room in my brother's like apartment situation. I was like, it doesn't matter, bro. I'm in LA. Like, I'm sleeping on the ground. It doesn't matter. So.
And where were you?
He lived right off of Santa Monica Boulevard in Hollywood.
In Hollywood. Okay.
Santa Monica and Vine. Wow, remember?
Oh, grimy.
Yeah. You see?
But weird. Like, you mentioned weird. You mentioned at some point you were saying some people said, LA is weird. If you do think I love that here. Like, it's funny. I remember a good friend of mine, he grew up here and he moved to New York. And he ended up staying in New York for over 10 years.
See?
Loved it. And he had lived all over the place. He was in San Francisco, he'd lived in Rome.
Wow.
And he goes, I really love it here, but I do miss the LA weird. You know, and it's not like New York doesn't have weird people, you know.
They do.
But there's something about the people. Last time I was in Hollywood, I went to Hollywood for my birthday. My wife and I had dinner at Musso and Frank for birthday dinner.
Congratulations.
And,
happy belated.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. February, baby, you know.
Oh, for sure. I would say less.
And so, you know, we're walking down Hollywood Boulevard, and it's just like every time, and I've lived here my whole life, and I still see these people, and I'm like, that's just amazing. And you can walk, and to some extent, people just don't even really care. You know, like you can walk down the street here looking like just crazy, and yeah, people will notice you, right? Yeah, exactly. People will notice you, but in general, it's like, okay, we've seen that or whatever.
Right.
There was a dude who lived in Hollywood. I'm not sure if he lived in his van or lived on the street or had a house. I don't know, but he was kind of like local famous. He had a hat that was like this big.
Okay.
With plants. He had a planter that he would wear on his head.
Interesting.
And he would cruise around Hollywood, and like anybody in that area, or if you got around, you'd be like, "Oh, ever seen the plant?" Oh, yeah, I've seen the plant, dude.
Seen the plant, right?
Just stuff like that.
That is hilarious.
Okay, so that's how you got to LA, and so are you glad you did it at this point? Like how you
Absolutely.
You're not done.
So the options for me were New York, LA, or Atlanta. And Atlanta, I would be one of a million black people. So I was like, that's not going to work for me. Like, I'm going to be competing in such a weird way. In New York, I was like, I'm from New York, so let me just try a new scenery. And then I realized the West is like, you know, it's LA, it's San Diego, San Francisco, Arizona, Vegas. Like, I've never been in the dirt, in the desert. I'm so used to, like, you know, extreme weather and 4 seasons. I come out here, there's like summer, there's fall, there's spring, there's fall-ish, there's spring. Like, that's LA. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's barely a winter here.
How did you like the earthquakes? Were you okay with that?
You know what?
They haven't been that bad, honestly.
They really haven't been that bad.
It's been a long gap between really serious earthquakes. You said something interesting just a second ago. You were like, here are my options. You're like, if I moved to Atlanta, I'd be just one in a million black people. Mm-hmm. Certainly, there's lots of black people in New York.
Yeah.
A lot of black people in LA, but as a percentage of the population, not as many. But what do you really mean by that? Like, what's the Atlanta... Coming out here, how is it different in terms of the cultural variance or in terms of how you feel you're not that? Yeah, like, what do you mean by that? That's an interesting thing to say.
So my mentality when I was younger, I mean, I was kind of still there. Mm-hmm. Atlanta, as if people didn't know, it's basically the black Mecca, like in this country, to be honest.
I know that intellectually, but I've never been there.
Oh, you gotta go.
And you know, even I go visit, I'm still not really gonna understand. So I don't really. This is interesting to me.
But there were, well, I mean, historically speaking, again, listen to They Not Like Us. No, but historically speaking, Atlanta was a huge Mecca for African American people, like after like post Civil War, Reconstruction era, things of that nature. W.E.B. Du Bois did a few like books based in Atlanta. Like it's just even like the name Atlanta, like, you know. Anyway, so there was so much rich history and so much black energy in LA. I mean, in Atlanta. Yeah. But I realized that one Southern, like being like raised in Virginia, it may not be the deep South, but it's still the South. So we get a lot of Southern culture. You know, I realized that. But one, I was like, I don't want to go deeper into a racist America. So getting deep South into Georgia felt like I was going to do that. One. Two, I felt like when it comes to Southern energy, I felt like I would be putting myself in a situation where I would really have to deal with the idea of almost like fighting with and competing against my own people, because there are so many of us in Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I feel like if I'm doing that, like, it's almost like I feel like I didn't want to like have a bad taste about my culture, you know what I'm saying, about like African American culture, because when you're coming in life, like, you're gonna have to go through things, right? So I feel like moving to Atlanta, I get a lot of like, you know, it's cheap there, but like there's a lot of crime, you know what I'm saying? And not, again, no bad stank on Atlanta, but in the early 2000s, like, you know what I'm saying, like, it's cheap there. There's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of energy there. There's a lot of like culture there. And I felt like I don't want to just be ingrained in black culture because I'm so used to black culture. yes, Southern culture is a thing, and I want to get to know that, but I think I'd much rather go to Los Angeles and hear about Chicano Mexican culture, hear about, you know what I'm saying, like what's happening out here in the West. Like, I want to get into a new place rather than just going further south, you know what I'm saying, deeper into the South. And then also, for me, I'll tell myself, if I do Atlanta, I want to do an HBCU, like a historically black college university. I want to be able to like really learn there. And I feel like if I go down there, I'm not really going to be learning. I'm going to really be doing like the dance situation. So for me, I was like, had I been earlier in my life, Atlanta would have been the move because I feel like I'm in the place where I can really learn from other people. But now that I'm going strictly for like dance, I feel like I'd be in a situation where I'm really like, there's not so much there's no way I can stand out, but I feel like I'm just in the space where like it's just the revolving energy of us, you know what I'm saying? And the things that we go through and the things that we talk about. Yes, familiarity is good, but at the end of the world, at the end of the day, I want to be able to like experience the world. And LA being an international city gives you the opportunity to experience the world.
And
you know?
so has that panned out for you? Like, how do you feel about because this place is so complex, right? I know LA likes to think of itself as having fewer barriers than it does, right? And on the other hand, well, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yes,
on the other hand,
yes.
there is a lot of potential here, and there are a lot of spaces that are really mixed, right? Culturally speaking. But so has it met your expectations, or have you found it culturally enriching, or have you found it more racist than you thought it would? Like, I don't know. What's your take on it? Like,
okay, so
again, as someone who's lived here, you know, I've traveled and shit, but like, this is what I know. And let me just preface this by saying, whenever I hear somebody say, and it's usually somebody who has only lived here for 10 or maybe even 20 years, and they'll be like, oh, LA is like this. Oh, LA is all about this. And I'm like, as soon as somebody says LA is all about this, I'm like, I think to myself, you don't know what you're talking about, right? Because like, are you in Long Beach? Are you a longshoreman, or are you working in a restaurant? Are you a movie star? Right? And it's really easy to come here and so many people come for work and they get caught up in that work.
Yep.
And then they're like, this is what LA is, and it's like, well, that's one part of it. And yes, you can go to the bar where everybody had plastic surgery, and it's really, really weird. But that's really not most. Anyway, so yeah. How's it met your expectations?
Okay, well, LA's all no. No,
dating in LA is like,
and honestly, right? No, so I'm moving in 2016. It's 2025 now. I'm coming up on 10 years. Oh my goodness. Wow. Oh my God, 10 years. Or half a generation. Yo, so much has happened. When I moved here, quick situation.
Yeah,
quick situation.
what's up?
When I moved here in 2016, y'all, I moved here in February 2016. My first birthday here was November 6th. The next day, Trump was in office. What I have realized about LA, in my opinion, is first things first. If you're into mysticism, spiritualism, universal crystal tones, whatever your internal energy is, LA is a very energetic or spiritual place. And the way I explain it to people is that, like, LA is an energetic city. It will give you what you're asking for. It will give you what you're asking for, yeah? So, and I say that in the lines of, one, LA is an adult playground.
Yeah, it has a lot of that, for sure. Sure. But it's got a lot of not that too.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
So I realized that one, LA is an adult playground. Not that it's not for kids, but if you want to raise kids in LA, you gotta find the places.
Yes.
But it's an adult playground. Anything that you want to do is here. The beach is here. The mountains are here. You know what I'm saying? Hollywood's here. Dance is here. Acting's here. Or just a 9 to 5, just an open mic. Like, you can literally do anything within the confines of LA County. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Look at that. Come on, LA.
Rocking it.
And like, y'all should hear this music in the background. It's cooking right now.
It is.
But yeah, again, there's Hispanic music, there's jazz, there's hip hop, there's so many things, right? So LA's an adult playground, but in a spiritual sense, I would tell people like, be specific about what you want to ask the universe for, because LA will bring it to you. Yeah. Also, LA is two sides of the same coin. All of your opportunities are here. Like I said, all of your career opportunities, all the things you wish you could do are here. But on the flip side, every drug you can think of is here. Every bad situation you can think of is here. Every like, I wanna, do stuff. The serial killers, they were here. You know what I'm saying? Like the good and the bad are literally a breath and a sneeze away from each other. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you must admit, same could be said of New York.
Yes, 100%. No, I
Right,
agree. I definitely
right.
agree. But like I said, I didn't realize that LA was really like that. Honestly,
I see,
You know?
I see,
I thought
yeah.
it was just like obviously Hollywood and the surrounding areas. Like no, Hollywood's a strip of streets. Stop playing with me. Like LA in itself, it's a vast place in a small town. If that makes sense. LA is a very cultural rich place.
Yeah. Well,
again,
this is where we started, right? I was like, well, because you were like not Atlanta, because you felt like it would be too much what you were familiar with in a sense, right?
Yeah. So it's culturally rich because, for example, like with black culture in LA, there's a lot of culture like lower beneath the 10 after the redlining incidents. Beneath the 10, it's accustomed to like Southern black culture, a lot of community, a lot of family, you know what I'm saying, a lot of cookouts, a lot of like, communal organizations, but also there's the African part of LA, you know what I'm saying, there's the Armenian part of LA, there's the Asian, the Korean, the Japanese parts of LA.
Yeah.
There are so many different communities here, right? And then there's the artist community, there's so many things, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So LA is very culturally rich. Hollywood obviously has its own history, the studios, the movies, the things.
Right.
There's so much life and history in LA that, again, if you just let the media tell you what's important and what's not, you'll think that West Hollywood and Beverly Hills and Mount Olympus are like the only things worth, you know what I'm saying, worth being. You'll think that downtown LA is like the only place worth going. Santa Monica is the only beach. No, there's Huntington, there's Hermosa, there's Bruce's Beach, there's Manhattan, there's so many things, you know what I'm saying? There's so many things.
Yeah. It's vast and it's not obvious. This is not an obvious city, right?
Exactly.
So it's always interesting to hear people's takes on it because it's not like, so many places you go visit, as just a visitor, right? It's kind of easy to figure out the stuff to see, right? The most extreme example of that, I think, would be Washington, D.C., right? Because it's all laid out in mythological format for you.
Yes.
But then even New York is like a subway stop away, and the things are big, and they're just a little more obvious. Here, everything's inside, and it's far away, and it's it's a little more about interiors and exteriors. We got you got your Disney Hall, but,
Right.
And then the people here often get more provincial than I think. Like Watts Towers.
Okay,
I
yes.
always tell people who are visiting, if you can get half a day to go to Watts Towers, go to Watts Towers.
Yes.
And every time I've taken somebody there, they've been blown away.
Yep.
And every time I've taken someone, they were gone there myself or gone there with my wife, whatever, almost all the other visitors are European. Right? You don't... It's like,
wow.
And there's a lot of stuff like that here. Like even the national parks to some extent. You go to Death Valley, which is really only four hours away from here, and like everybody's European that's visiting, right? So strange place. I don't know what that's apropos of, but and then how did you meet Freedom?
Oh, so yeah, it's a beautiful story. When it came to KRUMP, after the movie Rise dropped and it became like an actual thing that people actually started to understand, not just the dance, but like the why, not just the what, but the why, which has always been a thing of my career and like my artistry, the why. I would watch Freedom battle, yeah? And so when Freedom battled, I remember where he would dance to orchestral music. And he would do beautiful and wonderful things. And I'm just like, I understand that expression. And he would run around and he would jump off the stage and like in your face. And
so you were watching this back home?
Back home in Virginia.
Virginia.
Yeah. So while Freedom's doing these battles, he would lose the battles. He would do all these amazing things and lose. And I'm just like, yeah. And they'd be like, yeah,
we
bro.
talked about this actually a little bit.
Yep. And he was like, yeah, that's dope, bro. But like, it wasn't like strictly like battle KRUMP. You gotta like kind of like, go hard and like get at your person. And Freedom was just like, all right, it is what it is. But he realized, I guess, he'll tell you the story, but I guess he realized that time like he wanted to do his own thing, like create his own style. Epic, exactly. Shout out to Epic, beautiful. And so in me watching him battle and watching him lose all these battles and dancing to like Pirates of the Caribbean and Gladiator, I would like be in tears like, I understand that, bro. You pulled something out of yourself, and then you like
That's a classic.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I'm like, bro, like I get it. Like I see clearly these concepts, and I understand, and I relish this. Like this is so beautiful. How are you losing these battles? I'm like, oh,
it ain't about that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it wasn't about the artistry of performance. It was about the battle itself. It was about, you know what I'm saying? I came here to like show you why I'm better than you. Like, let me show you my technicality. I'm like, but he literally came in here and like, and I'm just like, bro, he flipped the coin. Oh my God. Like that was like, so for me, it was more of the expression. So after that, I was like, when I moved to LA, because I will one day, if nothing else happens, I'm going to work for freedom. He was one of the driving forces to get me to like, get
for
me
real?
Here. Yes.
And then so how did you actually go track him down?
So once I moved here, obviously I looked into the studios, Millennium, Movement Lifestyle, Debbie Reynolds. Shout out to Debbie Reynolds, one of the best studios. If you're part of the new generation, you missed a good one. It was beautiful, beautiful. But I remember meeting Freedom when Movement Lifestyle was still ML the store. It was still on its way up. Freedom got an opportunity to like start doing shows and do his own shows and stuff. And so I was like, hey, bro, like I know we don't know each other like that, but like I love your style. I like your artistry, the orchestral music. I literally do the same thing in my house. I listen to like Bach and Mozart and I dance to that and I do my thing. I was like, how can we connect? Like I would love to be a part of your process. And so eventually he was like, well, I got a show coming up. Like let's do it. And so whatever I had to do, whether I remember in the beginning his first few shows, I just pressed play on the music. That was it. I just pressed play and watched the show. And I was like, this is amazing. Oh my God, this is so cool. And people would be like, oh yeah. I mean, I'm just like, you guys aren't clapping hard enough. Like y'all aren't standing up. This is amazing. You not know what you're seeing. So like after like one or two shows and like just me like not really getting pissed, but just me being like, y'all don't really appreciate this, man. It got to the point where Freedom was like, you know, would you like want to like dance in one of my shows? Like I see your energy. I see like you're so animated. Do you want to be in a show? And he had a show called Dragonfly, yes. It was like the very first like show at Movement when it first opened up. The show was so good for the kids and it was so monumental. They were like, yo, like Freedom, you're amazing. And Freedom was like, yeah, I appreciate that. But like my main actor, Malik, like who got Gumby, or before I was Gumby, Malik, he was like, the energy he put into this, like you, like the acting, the voice, the thing, like you brought the show to life. Like, thank you so much. And I was just like, this is what I came here for, bro. I came here to do this, yo. Thank you so much. Like, and so like, after doing Dragonfly, I was like, Freedom, you have my word, bro. As long as you're going to continue to push art in this direction, I will be there. And since 2016, I think with the exception of like maybe 3 of total of his shows that he's ever produced, I've been in every single show because I love the way his mind works. I love the artistic expression, whether it's KRUMP, hip hop, whatever. It's always him figuring out at the last minute. We'll have like a 4-hour rehearsal, and in the last 30 minutes, he'll put it together. Or worse, like we'll have half a rehearsal, and then the day off, people are like, okay, so remember when we made that stuff?
No, we've all seen this.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it always becomes some type of like, oh my God, like, oh, how did you guys put this together? I have to like call my parents. The show, like, it just brought something out of me. I'm like, we literally improv that. Okay.
How did you first get exposed to KRUMP? Was it Rise or was it something else?
I want to say it was like pre-Rise, again, like the internet, when they were putting certain videos online and certain battles online before, with me not even really knowing like what KRUMP culture was, because I was into hip hop and then I got into Light Feet, which is a brand new style. In Light Feet, people would start like doing KRUMP stuff, and I'm just like, oh, what is that? This dude just like threw something and caught it. I'm like, what's that? And they'd be like, oh, yo, he's KRUMPing. I'm like, he's KRUMPing, like, and this is like right before Chris Brown came out and like all that kind of stuff.
So people like, and again, you're back in Virginia.
Yeah, back in Virginia.
And there was something of a KRUMP scene before that movie came out.
In Virginia, not so. It wasn't the Virginia KRUMP scene wasn't really like a crazy thing, but I want to say like the overall dance scene was there, and then like in the dance scene, like people would take different elements from different places, and if I didn't understand it, I wanted to go research it. So I'd go like look online. I'd go through the rabbit hole. Like you met with this person, and you learned from that person, and who's the Tommy the Clown? What's clowning? You know what I'm saying? Like I would get into but just like
that movie came out 2007, I think, right? Rise.
I want to say it was earlier than maybe.
Was it?
We gotta look it up. Hold on.
We should look it up.
Let me look it up really quick. When did Rise come out? Whoa, I'm glad you asked. Whoa.
Because the KRUMP thing, you know, that movie clearly exposed
2005.
2005.
So for me, that would be my 8th grade year.
So had you heard of KRUMP before that movie? Because it seems like.
Prior to Rise, I have heard of KRUMP, but I really didn't understand, again, the why. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand that it was a derivative of clowning. I didn't understand why people did it. I just knew it was like really like...
You just knew the moves a little bit.
Yeah, the moves and the energy behind it.
You didn't know there was a culture and a cathartic it's like a cathartic culture, you know?
Basically.
And, I mean, that's how I see it as someone who really doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about. But yeah, there's this beautiful catharsis to it. So you had a big homie in Virginia?
So I actually didn't get my big homie in KRUMP until right before moving out to LA. It was like maybe 14, 15. Like I said, Brinks, Norman Cunningham. He's my big homie in KRUMP, also known as Twin Priest.
And for those who don't know, by the way, that basically means mentor, right?
Yes.
But KRUMP has a very specific hierarchical culture.
Yes.
And if you're going to be taken seriously, you need that mentorship, right?
All right, let me give you guys a quick crash course.
Yeah.
I got you. So here's the first things first. KRUMP is an acronym. Kingdom, radically, uplifting, magnificent, or mighty, praise. Right? KRUMP is an acronym. I need you guys to all know this. Like, it's not just, it's just where did it come from? It's an acronym. And so for me, as someone who was raised in the church, I heard mighty praise. I'm like, so it's a praise dance. Kingdom mighty praise is a praise dance. Radically uplifting, this is a positive praise dance. And so, and me, like, looking into it and seeing Rise, I realized that a lot of people got into KRUMP. Yes, it was a derivative of clowning, but the alternative to KRUMP was like joining the gang, was like really being in these streets, like really doing that. And I was like, I see enough of that around where I'm from. So if the alternative to like joining the gang life is to do a dance that is structured around the gang family situation, it's like, I understand it and I love it even more. So in the hierarchy of KRUMP, you have your big, or like, let's say, for example, like Tie-Dyes, you know what I'm saying? Tie-Dyes, his name is Tie-Dyes, right? And then there's like twin Tie-Dyes, there's like junior, there's little, there's baby, you know what I'm saying? And so you get these names because within the culture, the closer you are to the style or to the essence of that person, which would be the big homie, Tie-Dyes, or Brinks, or Freedom, or whatever your name is, the closer you are, the higher your I guess like your hierarchy of your name. So, for example, you could be Baby Tie-Dyes, which is right now Beast, or Sherwin Beast. He was once Baby Tie-Dyes. Eventually, he made his own name, and now he's just known as Beast. You know what I'm saying? Or they'd be like a Junior Tie-Dyes, or you know what I'm saying, or Boy Tie-Dyes, like B Dash, for example. You know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. So, eventually, you get into the culture of it, you get into the idea of it, and so that's pretty much like what KRUMP is when it comes to it. No, it's not a gang per se, but the structure and hierarchy is almost gang life. For example, like
based on that sort of, or mirroring it, maybe.
So yeah, exactly. So like if you guys are on the West Coast, you've heard of what a pack out is. If you're not from the West Coast, a pack out in real life is when like if you're trying to join the gang, you got to get jumped in. So like you and like your big homie and maybe a few other little homies will come and they'll just pretty much like hit you into the corner like, all right, yo, you 5 against him, 2 minutes, basically defend yourself. And that's how you get packed out or jumped into the gang. Same thing with KRUMP. If you want to get into like KRUMP, after you've been training with people and you've been learning your thing, you'll come into a session and be like, all right, bro, we finna pack you out. And like for the next like 30 minutes, everyone, they KRUMP against you and then you throw around. And then someone pops out and they KRUMP and then someone pops in and they KRUMP and you're all like, and then someone else comes in and they're KRUMPing in your face. So now it's just like you hold your own in KRUMP. Like, show us your skill, show us your technicality, show us your energy. Don't give up. Like, show us what you got. And if you can like keep up in a sense, now you're a part of the family. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's getting packed out or joining.
What do you call that on the East Coast?
I mean, it's called a pack out still.
Same thing.
But yeah, but like I know like in the East Coast, like unless you like really understand gang culture, you don't really know what a pack out is. You know what I'm saying? Or getting jumped in, you don't understand what that concept is in a sense.
Right.
So that's kind of like some of the hierarchies of KRUMP in a sense, like some of like the foundations in KRUMP. So
so you went through this process just before you moved out here?
So for me, like right just before I came out here, I had been learning from Norman before, or I guess we'll call him Brinks, before he became officially Brinks. But as he was making his fam, he was like, man, I want to join, I want to like figure out what it is. So I would come and train. I had my first battle, which I did really good at. I really had fun doing that. I had my first battle, and, I got packed out, I got to learn stuff, and then eventually I realized that like the way he dances, almost like our Freedom is more orchestral, Norman is like more musicality based.
Okay.
Yes, he does his KRUMP thing, but like it's more of like when the music is going, that's where he moves. Instead of just like, it's a chest pop for chest pop's sake, we need to make it like make sense.
I mean, it's dance.
Exactly.
Right.
So that was pretty much how I like joined my KRUMP fam, and ever since then, slowly but surely, I've been figuring out my own wave, my own style, and I realized that I'm more performance based than I am like battle based. So I really don't battle like that in LA, but I do like to perform. So I continue to like ask questions, to train, to get with different people and things of that nature. I really do enjoy it, and again, like people are probably gonna fight me in the comments. or like, say what you gotta say, like, but for me, again, like I think I'm more performance based. I want to see KRUMP on Broadway. I want to see KRUMP, telling stories in different countries. Like, yes, the battle's cool, but like if we only like circulate the energy into the culture, it'll never get anywhere else.
So I see, well, this is what I think is so great about Freedom is that he's taking all these street styles and putting them on a platform that could be on these stages that you're talking about. How can I ask this in a way that you can answer? Like, I think, all these styles deserve bigger stages, right? Right now, like for the most of the world, if they're not in this community, you see some music videos, right? Maybe the TikTok thing, right? And then you got the Red Bull situation, and it's all basically getting either represented as kind of stunts and
preaching. You're preaching right now,
right? Like stunts, or maybe just athletic. The artistry is not getting represented for the most part, unless you know how to. Like if you if you see the videos with, like if you see a Kendrick video, or back in those Missy Elliott videos, I still think are like as good as anything that's come out singing. Right? If you know what you're watching, you see the artistry.
Yeah.
But considering the potential audience for this, right?
Okay.
It's just kind of getting buried, and everything's taking from it. So what do you think? Do you have any ideas on how this can level up and be something that people go to Disney Hall to see? Because I don't think it's a hard sell, right? I think you could get your kind of typical theater goers, like people my age, right? Like, and even older, appreciating this. If just like maybe you can't, crank up like Busta Rhymes at 200 decibels for the first exposure, that may, offend some people, right? But whatever. The art form itself is so versatile, and there's so much of it, and there's 50 years of history now, and myriad foundations and experts and people at universities teaching it, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Do you have any kind of vision for getting this onto, the stages where people pay $50, $100, $200 a ticket, and like the dancers get paid, and it can start to sustain itself and be seen as an art form?
So for me, the answer to this conversation,
yes,
in my opinion, is a very layered answer. It's one that's based off of not just dance specifically. And I'm not going to take a crazy amount of time to get into it, but I do want people to understand some things. First things first, let's start with the facts. Just about every worth it, beautiful, expressive art form that we know here in this country is created by African-American people. And I'm not just saying that to be like, oh, black people are the greatest. Like, no, we can do your research, do your own research. Jazz, rock, like honestly, really, like, think about it. Like hip hop, like all, disco, like there's so many different forms of music.
And jazz went through the same thing, right? All the jazz musicians like had to go to Europe to get paid. Yes.
You see?
Yeah.
Right. And just taking jazz for example, the fact that like jazz is do 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 do, it's that syncopation, that jumping out and jumping back in of the, you know what I'm saying, of the sound. That's jazz, right? So things like hip hop, things like KRUMP, in a sense, like it's really like the new generation's form of expression. Yeah. So first things first, you have to realize that when it comes to making art, the country that we live in, with all due respect, whether you want to believe it or not, we're still under occupation. The people at the top who are running things, they make the standards and the distinction. That's why ballet and these different styles that can be like that represent a certain level of aristocracy, represent a certain level of high society and things of that nature. They're accepted first before the styles that come from the people who are on the ground level.
Right,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
So when it comes to things like KRUMP, for example. In order to see KRUMP on bigger stages, I think the very basic answer is packaging and connecting. Yeah? At the end of the day, like you say, if you know what you're looking at, it's easy to recognize like, oh, that was tight, or like he just did that thing. Like if everyone was taught the elements and the foundations of krump, it would be so much easier to like appreciate them, right? So hip hop, for example, if you knew that hip hop is basically bounce, rock, wave, slides, and then the groove of continually doing these things while you add a popular move with it and turns as well. If you think about it, like the Cabbage Patch, this is a turn, right? But also this is a rock and a turn. This is a hip hop move. The Cabbage Patch, because it's a rock and it's a turn, and it's also a move that was created from the younger generation, yeah? This is what makes it hip-hop, you know what I'm saying? Party moves, culture moves, social moves, yeah? If you understood that hip-hop was that simple, outside of like the culture and everything else, the elements, then it would be so much easier to recognize it, and once you recognize it, you appreciate it. Once you appreciate it, you want to expose it, yeah? But for krump, a lot of people don't understand like the stomp, the chest pop, the, you know what I'm saying, the jab, the arm throw, where it comes from, why you do it. They don't understand the why. They see the what, but they don't understand the why. And since they don't understand the why, they're not connected. And when you're not connected, you can't appreciate it, yeah? So I feel like, in my opinion, I feel like when it comes down to it, packaging the dance and art form of krump in a way where it can connect with people who are not interested in the art is the way to put it together. Once you can do that, then people can appreciate it, then they can start to understand. So this is why I appreciate people like Freedom, because people know Mozart, they know Beethoven, and they know Vivaldi, like you know that, right? So imagine someone came through and they you may not understand krump, but you understand that I'm moving in a way where the music is...
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that I think almost anybody could appreciate... Because, look, let's face it, most people... These European art forms that we're contrasting it to are struggling too, right? Because, you know, the arts in this country are struggling. However, to the extent that they're flourishing, most people who go to the ballet or to go see a symphony, they don't really understand it either. They might know some of the melodies and they're familiar with the instruments, but it's not like most people who go to the ballet don't know how to distinguish the steps or know the tradition. They don't. Do you think? I
agree.
Right?
I agree with the fact that most people really don't really understand the technicality behind it. They see the beautiful leg and the twirls and the spins, but it's because one, we've been taught that this is a form of fine art from the generations prior to.
That's the thing. It's aspirational.
You know what I'm saying? So I think if someone teaches you that, to do ballet means that you have to be poised and you have to hold your core and you have to do these things, someone's teaching you that this is a fine art because of what it takes to do it. Right. But if I told you, like, in order to be a krumper, it's very hard to do more than 2 minutes of straight krump because of the workout it takes, the energy it takes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you really understood what it took to do this, even if you don't understand the dance, you would understand, like, the effort they're putting in makes so much sense. So again, that's a form of connection. Some people see, you know what I'm saying? So again, like a connecting krump to people who have been told mostly that this very light and dainty style with a strong lean is ballet, you know what I'm saying? If we take those same elements, but instead of it being light and dainty, it's more like grounded and heavy, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's somehow finding that connection. Once you find that connection, I think it'll be so much easier for people to understand. So to answer your question, I think as we move forward into the future, taking the world here and the world that people think are, whether it's high society or very astute or, avant-garde, connecting those two things in a way where you recognize the avant-garde, you recognize the art. So let me take Michelangelo's David and let me do a pose like that. Now I look like David. And now let me dance to Beethoven and then let me do some krump stuff. But as I'm doing it, let's use some ballet leaps. Let's use some turns and let's stop. And let's bring it back into krump, because the idea is I have to create that connection for you. You're not going to be like, oh, that looks like ballet. But if I do moves where you're like, oh, I can recognize that. Oh, that's a pirouette. He did a pirouette, but yet he had a fist and he did like a something. You may not understand the krump element, but you understand the other elements being used. So I think that what we need to do is push krump into the artistic space so people see it more as an experimental expression of energy and emotion. Once they see that, I think the excuse can be made that, oh, this is more expressive. This is more outlandish, but expressive. And it's more like, it almost feels like it's almost like a counterculture, new age expression. Once you can get it into that space, into the eyes of certain people, then I have the mentality that they'll be willing to pay top dollar to see what you create, because I know we do ballet every year. It's always Swan Lake. Well, what if you guys did like a KRUMP version of Swan Lake? You know what I'm saying? And now we may have to like shift the music a bit.
I know the orchestras would appreciate that because they're tired of playing Swan Lake.
You see what I'm saying?
You're a gamer too, right?
Absolutely.
Do you does that come into your dance?
Yes. Honestly, there are times where, just for one example, where like Freedom, because he loves orchestral music, he'll play something, and as he's playing the music, I'll either pick a scenario or pick a character. Like there's a game called Devil May Cry. A guy named Dante, main character, he's like a very, 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 very ancient old demon. And his dad was like the demon king of all demons. But he's like, I don't really want to be demon king, but you know what I'm saying? I kind of want to like, walk around the world and like, do my own thing, right? Okay. And so he's like really cool. He's got like twin pistols. He's got like a sword that he uses. And he like jumps all over the place and runs really fast. So like I may do something like that. Or like maybe something's happening and I'm thinking like I'm Neo in the Matrix. Okay. How would Neo fight? You know what I'm saying? So now I'm like moving in a way where I'm just like, oh, like I'm doing you know what I'm saying? So
does it ever go the other way around? Are you ever like playing a game, like a new game, and you see some character come out, or even the character you're playing, and you're like, got to put the game down and try to move like that? Does that ever happen?
Yes, actually. I'm so glad you're saying this because I feel so validated right now.
Nice.
No, but yeah, actually that does happen. I will literally pause the game mid-game and be like, oh, or like just a universal example. Let's say I'm like playing Sonic or something, right? And like Sonic does some kind of situation. Now I'm just like, oh, how would I like run like Sonic? Oh, okay, and then like, how would I like, yeah, okay, and then make it a dance move, Just because like, again, like now that I connect with the character and what you're trying to do in this world, it's like, how can I use that for my own purposes? And maybe like when I'm hearing a song later, I feel like, oh, here comes the concept. Now I'm a ninja, you know what I'm saying? Or now I'm a so-and-so. So instead of me trying to, sometimes I willfully draw it out, but most times I let the music start going and then a concept will just come in my head. I'm just like, oh, I'm a mailman now, okay. Like, what are you doing? Are you serving us? Like, yeah, I'm a mailman.
I've noticed it because I'm not a gamer, right? And so but at a certain point, I realized how heavily dancers were drawing from gaming. And I think it's really beautiful, because like for people, like I had video games, but they were not, like 8-bit shit. And then I didn't keep going. I wasn't interested in it. But like for your generation and younger, it's just part of the cultural landscape, right? Like even if you're not a gamer, you probably still know Dragon Balls.
Yeah.
And you still know Sonic and you still know some of this stuff. And then if you are a gamer, which a lot of people are, it's just like such a natural, because like the designers are spending so much time in the movement, and a lot of them, they're building the movement off of people with sensors on them. And it's really
mocap.
I can see why that's really compelling. And it's so cool that it translates like to someone like me who's not even connected to it, right?
Exactly.
So that's pretty awesome.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Very
sir.
successful.
Heck yeah.
And again, is there anything we didn't get into? Any questions for me before we?
Actually, yes.
All right, let's go.
So I know we've talked a little bit about, where you come from, your family, what you do, who you are. I want to preface this by saying, like, this podcast situation has been such a beautiful, like, journey to watch this man create with the dance community, the dance community connections that he has built throughout these, 9-10 years now?
Yeah, it's been 10 years. 2016. We covered the date, actually.
Yeah. Since 2016.
This has a very particular genesis.
Wow. So my question, I got a few questions. One would be, if in the energy of like Just a Boo, government funding, backing, philanthropy, whatever it is, if someone came to you and said, I've got you for like the next 5 years, we've got like $1 million just coming towards you, what direction would you like to see your artistry? It doesn't have to necessarily be like just dance or just like photography, but like what direction would you move in if money wasn't the issue?
I have a good answer for that. So I do apply for grants periodically, right? And I never get them. But those are more, they're not $1 million, they're more like in the several $1,000s range.
Beautiful.
And what I would do with those, they're focused because it's grant, right? Photography. And I would travel to as many countries as I could, going to see people I know that live in those countries, right? France, Vietnam, Japan, Korea,
Okay.
and photograph dance culture in those places. And also do some video. I'd want to do video interviews.
Yeah. I'm with you,
I
bro.
I did get one to go to Japan in 2019.
Beautiful.
And I met Slim in Hiroshima as I was part of that trip. It was really great. I did, like anything that you do for the first time, you come back and you're like, oh, I should have done things differently. I got a little distracted in some situations trying to shoot video because I didn't know what I was doing, but I wanted to do it. And so I realized when I got back and I looked at my photos, I was like, I should have just spent the time doing photos and not messing with the video at all. But now I know how to shoot video, and I know I would have a very specific thing I would do with the video. I would just talk to people. I wouldn't try to capture the event in video, really, right?
Gotcha.
So, but I would want to capture those views on how the culture is perceived, street dance culture in these different cultures that have taken it from the U.S. and have had cultural exchange and all of that. If I got the $1 million, I would put on stage productions exactly what we're talking about.
Beautiful.
In terms of taking the street styles, taking original music. I've actually done a couple of these. I don't know if you've watched them. And there were really more experiments. I did one with Robozilla and Mick as my dancers.
Yes.
And it was this suitcase. And
Yes.
I had freedom shoot it. And that was just basically, I just wanted to do it. And I was like, I got $1,000. And what can I do for $1,000 and treat everybody right and complete the project. And so I did that one. They did one that was a little elaborate, with a little bit more money. And that was with Robo and Sumi and Lily, Tiger Lily.
Yes, Tiger Lily.
And
Yes.
Freedom cameraman again, and Madeline helped creatively organize the thing.
Beautiful.
And again, and it was my own music, right? And again, it wasn't so much about I knew it had its limitations. I knew it wasn't going to be like a brilliant thing, right? So it was a strange thing. It wasn't like this kind of vision where it's like, I have this vision of a great art piece. It was more like, I want to see what it takes to put something like this together.
Okay.
And I want to, make it a good experience for everybody and execute it properly just to see what can be done, right? So if I had a bigger budget, I would do that, whether it was my music or somebody else's, it would all be original and a stage piece that involved these styles and people like yourself and told a story, right? Like narrative dance piece with street styles involving the community that was authentic and not like some forced thing, right? So that's it. Those are my answers right there.
Wow.
So the photography one, I think, is more within reach because those grants are kind of out there.
Okay.
The funny thing with photography grants is that almost all of them, because there aren't that many, and they're almost all for like tragedy, right? Like war photographers, which
Yep.
I mean, what can you say? Like, how can I not respect somebody who's like going to Ukraine with a freaking camera and surviving and capturing that? Like, I get it, right?
Right.
And then there's personal stories of family tragedy or, overcoming, all that's super valid. But that's where most of the grants get given to. It's true. So I'm always trying to like say, hey, how about looking at something that's like positive, right? That's like a counter narrative to all of this stuff that is the dominant narrative right now.
Boom.
Right?
There it is. Okay.
Because that's what I love about this community. I'm sure you've heard me talk about this more than twice, right? But that's, to me, the story here. Like, all this artistry, I feel like has been a side benefit, like this wonderful blessing that has come along with me following this community.
Yeah.
Because I didn't follow it for the artistry, to be perfectly honest, right?
Gotcha.
I followed it because I was like, this community is what people need to see. And then it became like, oh, this artistry in the context of this community is what people need to see.
Beautiful.
So there you go.
Beautiful.
That was, for me, that was fairly concise.
Yeah, no, yeah. Look, no, again, to the point, and you hit the points, you hit the spaces. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see. I had another question. What's the weirdest art that you think you've produced, created, or captured?
Oh, the weirdest art. That's a good one. I don't know if it's weird. I think it's weird. It's not weird in like if you would have seen it it would have involved slimy things and outlandish costumes, but doing it was weird. When George Bush got elected,
Interesting.
for some reason, I decided to read every public speech that he gave. And prior to the current dipshit, generally the job of the president is to, occasionally go and negotiate. And it's the executive branch. You're supposed to be a manager, which is the sad, it's really a bummer that the government has lost its way to the extent that citizens are now looking for this leader rather than realizing it's the executive branch. It's supposed to be managers.
Checks and balances.
Right.
Yeah.
But really the president's, they'd go talk. They'd go to a company here. They'd go to a state, travel all the time and talk. So I read every speech and I wrote an epic poem about his presidency.
Okay.
And I did several performances of it. And it was just me, the narrator. Today, can I even remember? Today we begin a historic time. The elect is removed from the president. The ballots are cast. The ball swept away. George Bush is the new office resident. And it went on like this, right? It was this kind of funny, satirical thing. And then I had a friend play George Bush. So there were moments where George Bush would speak directly.
Yeah.
And so then he would take over, and he was behind a podium with the presidential seal. So it wasn't weird.
That's a dance piece.
But it was weird that I sat there. And at that time, I was working as mostly as a admin assistant.
Okay.
Right. So it was off. I was working in like a financial services company, and I'd crank out the work, and then I'd be sitting there, and I had a computer, and I would write. So I wrote almost this entire thing at this job, and I think that's a
Thank you.
well, thank you, Malik. This was epic.
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
gonna have some editing work to do. But no, thank you so much. It's great to get to know you better. And
Thank you. You too.
if you still have, we don't need a ton of time. It'll take me like 5 minutes to move stuff around.
Yeah, I got time. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's make it happen.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Honored to be here. sir.
That was nice.
I appreciate you, man. It's been a beautiful experience.
I hope you enjoyed that.